but there's something inside of you that says, I just have to follow that. Because you don't know who you're going to meet, who you're going to meet, who you're going to because you don't know who you're going to meet, who you're going to meet.
Testing one, mic check two. Really appreciate everybody for tuning in. Time is my enemy, but time is also my friend. Don't forget to share this thing. Let your friend, neighbor, foe know where to go when they want to tune in to Cowboys Sports Talk and beyond. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. Yes, really appreciate everybody for tuning in. My name is Law Nation, L-A-W Nation.
Be your biggest fan.
And we're going to get this thing going the best way possible, right?
And nothing's working, but there's something inside of you that says,
let's go.
You just have to follow that. Because you don't know who you're going to meet.
You don't know who you're going to meet. Yeah, that's right, Cowboy Nation. Let's keep our mind together and let's go. Let's get this thing going. Wake up, everybody. If I'm up, you guys should be up, right? Let me know if my audio is clear. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Thomas, shout out to you. Shout out to everybody. Time is relative, right? You know, it might be late where you at. It's early where somebody else is at, right? Draft time for your mind is here, right? We got to start looking into the draft. We got to start looking into everything from A to Z. And on top of that, Cowboy Nation, this is the only time that I'm free. Boy, I've been working hard today, and it's been one of those long days. And I said, man, what about a good nightcap to talk to you all about everything? And did you guys get a chance to see or hear Jerry Wayne Jones this morning on 105.3 The Fan? Hey, he said we got the world's record, right, in the pandemic as it relates to attendance record. And, you know, it got up under his skin a little bit about that when the host of the show that morning asked him, hey, some of the fans, some of the people, everybody from left to right is saying that, hey, you more caring about the money, the remunerations for the nation, opposed to winning. And it got up under his skin just a little bit. He kind of quivered a little bit. He probably put the phone on mute, sneezed and coughed and all of that good stuff. Danny, appreciate you. Mendoza, appreciate you for tuning in. I hope you get some free agents. Tired of relying on draft pick. Like, I broke it down on my earlier video when I was free early this morning. I broke it down as phases to the draft. And a lot of people look at the draft and seeing it from what it is now. But it's phases to it. Lord, what are the phases? Well, you got this phase. You got the free agency period before the draft, but before the free agency period, you also got the ability to retain said players that's already on your team. So you got that part of the cookie. Then you have the free agency, right? And then you have the draft, because the free agency can change your need versus want value, right? So then from there, you got the draft. You know how that thing goes. A lot of teams going to draft somebody, and they're going to look at it and say to themselves, oh, I no longer need this person. And then you see the release 99. They release the veteran guy, or they release a person that they're not high on because they drafted somebody thinking that that person is going to fill that void spot. And now you have somebody on the street, or you have one of the players that's in their feelings and they request to be released. You see how that goes, right? So there's how this whole thing goes. And what we did, ladies and gentlemen, last season, before the draft or what have you, I think we didn't play in that game. We didn't participate in day one of the free agency. I could be wrong. It could be somebody we looked at in day 2, day 3. I could be wrong. My mind slipped me, on this. But I don't think that we danced around with that grenade, right? And the craziest thing about a grenade, when you see it on the ground, either you're going to jump on it so it won't explode and blow you up, or you're going to run like hell to get away from it, right? And what we do is we see the grenades and we just run. We're not going to play with that booger bear. We're not going to play with those free agency guys, because I truly believe in the hearts of hearts. I love saying it that way, in the hearts of hearts, that we kind of look at it and we would say to ourselves, nah, we ain't going to get burned. No, we snake bitten. Shout out to you, Akeem. Really appreciate you. He says, Law, my brother from another mother. Really appreciate you, man. First 3 rounds, I will go defense. This is from Larry 22. I'm glad that he mentioned that. First 3 rounds, he would go defense. But that's predicated upon what we do in the free agency and what we do with players that we already have on our team. Case in point of what I'm talking about is phases to it. So from right now, we can look at it and say, man, we should go defense. But it's depending on what we do in free agency period. And it's before the draft. That's what I'm saying. And a lot of things with this draft is going to be predicated upon what the Joneses do with Rain Dakota Prescott. We can have our high loves and adulations on Dakota Prescott. And like my old sales manager would say when I was working for that company, it's all good, Law. Sounds great, but where the ink at on the paper? Meaning that where is the cash at hand? Where is the signed, sealed, and delivered? Because you can tell a lie for so long, and I'm not saying that the Joneses are lying, but you can forecast something for so long. You can tell people your visions for so long. But until it comes into full light, tangible, then we don't have no deal on the table. Look, the craziest thing of it all, right? Right before the deadline for your mind happened. Shout out to you, Wiggle Bell. Right before the deadline happened, they said, oh, we had the deal at hand. Everybody agreed on it, but the time expired. Let me repeat. We had the deal right in hand. Everyone agreed on it, but the time expired, meaning that Dak Prescott camp and Jerry Wayne Jones company agreed on something, but they said the time expired. Well, if that's the case in the scenario, then all you have to do is move a few commas here or a few, dates and change it up now, and Dak Prescott contract, dare I say, should be signed, right? Should be already, the ink should be drying on the paper. But to lie to kick it, you'll say, oh, yeah, we had the deal, but it didn't go through. And that's just my observation. I could be 1,000,000% wrong, right? But why would you say it? Right, just right, Michael. Shout out to you, Jay. We need Zach Martin, who can play any position on that line. Yeah, everybody needed Zach Martin. Jeez. Everybody need one of those dogs, right? That's an understatement right there. Really appreciate everybody. I know it's an unauthorized time for most people. And shout out to those that's watching my YouTube. I'm trying to pull it up so I can see the comments. William, appreciate you. You build a championship football team with the offense and defensive line first. This is from William. But you also build a championship is right now. Every move you got to be calculated. Oh, I forgot to put my time up here. Just bear with me right quick. Bam. Slide this over. It's my time ticker up top so I won't go over the time. So we got to figure that out, Cowboy Nation. We really got to look at it and say, all right, cool. We got to figure this out. All right? So during the off season is where you earn your keep. And Jerry Jones admitted earlier saying, okay, hey, 2 tiers in a bucket. I overshot myself with the aspect of looking at it like, okay, I can dance with this new defensive philosophy and scheme and bring it in-house. And we looked at other teams and we looked at other things. Yes, they had new defensive coordinators, what a lot of people was telling me. But when we started to peel back everything, they didn't change new schemes. So that is a crazy booger bear as well. Shout out to Restream for letting me know that we hit over 100 messages, man. I really appreciate you all. I don't have the full time frame to play the entire interview because I will be stopping it. But we're going to listen in to 105.3 The Fan, right? And we'll listen in to what they had to say to Jerry Jones. And I'll pause and give my interactions with it. Let's go.
I'll start with the second one first.
Let me know if y'all can hear it.
And we had the benefit of seeing that ball close to the ground or on the ground. And my initial reaction was that it's very difficult to get these things overturned. And so
Slater do sounds good.
You know, I was concerned about using the timeout as well. As it turns out, it did lengthen the distance of the field goal, and having said that, I mean, it shortened the distance of the field goal, and that turned out to be a critical play. We all probably had that one to do over again, the way the game turned out, how we ended up needing the timeouts, not needing the timeouts. We could have easily burned that one and made that more difficult. So bottom line is that we always want some do-overs if they look like they could have changed that outcome. But generally, I'm a little philosophical about it.
He said he's a little philosophical about it. And like we said, bottom line, you know, that's my dog Jerry Wayne, man. All right, so he's talking about the do you throw the challenge flag, do you not? And then they're going to talk about, do you go for 2 or do you not? Now, all of this is much to do about nothing, because regardless, if we were to win that night, then we would have been really upset about the fact that the Eagles tanked, and we would have been really upset at the Eagles. And we have to understand that this game is a grimish type of game. It's a dirty type of game. There's a clip out there floating around that the Eagles guy tried to go at the leg and the feet of Alex Smith there and could have hurt him badly. And I don't know of the ramifications of what happened in that process there. But that just goes to show you that, man, this is a grimish type of league. And my thing is, I have to say this, Cowboy Nation, when we look at Mike McCarthy, it's not about health. It's not about, you know, did you have the off season? Did you not have the off season? It's all about the mental capacity. Not saying that the man is not the brightest light in the light bulb in the room or the sharpest knife in the drawer. But what I'm saying is that your decisions, regardless if you had Joe Montana out there, regardless even if you had a young Emmitt Smith in their front five, right, offensive line, would you still make the same decisions, right? Regardless of whether or not you even have, you know, on the defensive side of the ball, if you had a Reggie White with a Lawrence Taylor, would you be making the same decisions? That goes a long way. And that's my only problem with Mike McCarthy, is his decision-making. When I started, now I did curate and put up all of the all 22 films of every single Jalen Smith tackle. I just finished it. It's finished uploading, and I'll probably post a link. It'll be a late night film watching for you all if I post it. Maybe I could post it in the morning time, give you guys some rest, right? But nevertheless, your decision-making goes a long way. And just because the kid got a Ferrari doesn't mean that he knows or she knows how to drive it. He or she know how to drive it. You got to make better decisions. I tell people all the time, when you're trying to prepare yourself for the interview, let's say Malcolm B., you're in the chat room. I appreciate you. Jonas Jackson, 420, appreciate you. Larry, 22. All of you guys have an interview in the morning time. It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have the opportunity and not be prepared. It's wiser to go ahead and fill your car up now or the day before, opposed to waiting in the morning time saying, well, I'll go get the gas in the morning time, or I'll iron out my clothes in the morning time. No, take proper care of the time that you have and go ahead. You got the interview. It's at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. Go ahead, study up and be abreast to everything, but already map out the location of where your interview will be at the night before or the day before. Sometimes it's best to just drive by there. There could be constructions out there at the site. So what you want to do is, collectively speaking, this is just me talking some real life stuff to people. It's better to understand every angle and every obstacle and be prepared. Because at the end of the day, if you don't get the job, at least you say, man, I was prepared for it. I had my car already filled up with gas. I already had my suit ironed out, or I had my shoes clean. Make sure, even if your shirt wrinkled a little bit, make sure your shoes are shiny. That's the first support that you'll ever have in your life is walking, being able to walk under your feet. Make sure that your shoes are shining, right? These are just qualities of life. And if it's a certain job, you can't go in there with my type of beard. You got to trim it off. You got to cut it off, cut it low. But do not do it the day before. Make sure you look okay a couple of days earlier, So you won't look weird going in there looking like, oh, man, what is this dude, These are things of preparations. You got to plan it ahead. So I don't see those type of grooves from Mike McCarthy. He may be just that guy. But time and time again, the sloppiness, the carelessness, all of those things start to show up. And you'll say to yourself, come on, why are you not better prepared for these games? Why are you not better prepared for these moments? When I started to look back at everything, I looked at one of the games that stuck out like a sore thumb was the Washington team on Thanksgiving Day. When we played against them, the Washington team, at the final score of somebody looking at the scoreboard, they say, man, Cowboys got blown out, right? Somebody who just watched the highlights, man, the Cowboys got blown out. But we was in every inch of that game all the way into the fourth. But you decided to panic. You learn more about a person when the house is on fire, right? When the panic in the situation, when you only have $2, and let's say you have to go to that interview, and you only have $2, do you put the $2 in your belly to eat something? Or do you say, man, I'm going to put $2 worth of gas, maybe $1.50. Maybe I call Ashanika with Pookie Ray Ray and say, hey, I'm on hard time, but I got this interview, baby. Oh, Shaniqua, Kamika, I got this interview, and I promise you I'll get you back as soon as I get paid, but I need by 10 to put gas in my car so I can be ready for this interview. Or you can take me, one of those things. Tristan Hale got a noodle. Oh, Tristan, who Tristan got a noodle arm? Why do we, this is Gabriel. What do we do with Blake Jarwin? Well, right now, Blake Jarwin will be considered a guy that, hey, we got to wait and see. Because this is a new administration. They don't know nothing about Blake Jarwin that much. Their love and adulations is not as high as the previous regime. So they got to look at all of that stuff.
Jerry, did they show the replay in the stadium on the Jumbotrons in time to call the challenge? Like, could Mike have seen the replays himself and not necessarily needed to rely on the replay booth?
Not really. We were scrambling like hell to get some communication to the extent you can. You know, you're really limited on being able to communicate in any way when you've got the best advantage on television.
So that decision basically was from upstairs. It wasn't Mike's. He was told, no, I don't think we should challenge it, right?
Well, I don't know about that. Mike knew it was close, and I thought he had later, I thought his explanation was that he realized it was tight, close, but he didn't see enough to warrant the risk of the timeout. I buy that. We can second guess that decision, of course, but still, I know that his thinking was there. I think maybe you're asking me, do I really dock him for making that call at that particular time? No. My experience over the years with all coaches that I've ever had an association with, they have ample second guessing of their decisions, game day as well as other types of decisions.
And Jerry, how did you feel about the extra point versus 2-point decision?
I'm good. I'm really good with that. I saw they're pretty. We don't do well in the red zone this year, and they're a pretty tough bunch to get short yardage on.
All right, so he said we don't do good or well in red zone this year. I want to know when we ever did good in the red zone. Somebody help me out. Please post it down below. I want to know, especially since this new, administration is here. When have we ever been good? I just want to know for my own mental, I digress.
Overall summary of the good and the bad as you head into the offseason.
Well, number one, we fell far short of what I thought our team would accomplish.
Oh, here we go.
I totally underestimated the impact of not being with the team early through the spring and through the training camp with the change in coaching, and if you will, especially on the defensive side of the line, if you will, a change in technique, a change in some philosophy there, overall philosophy, and that one's on me. I'll take that one.
It's on me, baby. It's on me, baby. So he was talking about the change in the overall philosophy and things like that. That's on him. He is the general manager, so he does wear that particular hat. So at least he's falling on the sword. Now, that's on him, right? So it's 26 years and counting because it's on him, right?
That one should have been, when we sat down, we should have said, look, especially as we're getting on into the COVID situation and saw that we were going to be limited with our time with the team, then putting an emphasis on familiarity, putting an emphasis on things that players have had a lot of experience with. Now, we still, especially on the defensive side of the ball, we brought in several new players that also had an experience in certain, whether it be technique or whether it be defensive philosophy. But we fundamentally have to, the word is discipline. The word is discipline. It's real obvious when you look at defense that gives up big plays. That's directly to the word in the dictionary called discipline.
Now, when he goes over discipline aspect of it, and I'm not trying to beat him up or anything. Shout out to Jerry. We love him, from the moon and back. We love the guy. But when you're talking about discipline, I'm going to ask you guys in the chat, and I really appreciate you guys for going over the question the last time. But who established discipline? Is it the head coach? Is it the offensive coordinator? Is it the defensive coordinator? Is it the assistants? Is it the owner? Is it the general manager? Right? Like Larry 22 and Jess Davis, who established discipline in your house? AC Money, who established discipline in your house, right? You know, that discipline aspect of it got to be established somewhere. Now, when we talk about within the confines of your own dwelling and your house, or if you are a manager of a store, you got to set forth the discipline. It's okay for somebody to make a mistake one time, right? Swaggy YT says the head coach, basically. AC Money said, I established a discipline, you know. AC, like, man, when I tell y'all to go to bed, y'all better be in bed, right? Or, you know, when I tell you to cut the light off, the doggone lights need to be off. That's the reality of it. When I tell you to stop running the water or take the trash out, that's what's supposed to happen. Maybe one time you let it slip, right? Trash man come out on a Tuesday, and you say, hey, take the trash out, and you look out there, the trash is still there Wednesday. Maybe you give them a pass. But dog it, the trash man come again on Friday, and it's Saturday, the trash is still there. Who established the discipline? Who established that? You know, so at this point, the craziest thing of it all is that the bill will still come to me if my establishment of the discipline is not there. What do you mean, Law? So if I tell someone that under my house, under my rulings, under my castle, I'm the king of this castle. I'm just trying to speak it in common terms here. If I tell them cut the lights off, keep them off, don't run the light on. If you're not in the room, leave the light off. Don't leave it on. But I come to find out that they are on or what have you. Will the energy company come for them? Will the people say, hey, do they have to pay the bill? No, the bill going to come to me. So that is what Jerry Jones needs to know, is that when the discipline aspect is not there, and when you're talking about defense or offense and beyond, when you don't establish the discipline, the level of understanding, okay, these are the consequences that will happen if you go against my demand, then if you never establish it, they're going to run all over you. You're going to continue to see the same mistakes over and over and over and over again. That's facts. I wish I could lie to kick it to you guys, but that's not truth. If I tell you otherwise, say, you know what, they will eventually catch on. No. But let's listen to more what they have to say.
Of doing your assignments.
Very good explanation and ownership with, we were talking about that earlier, Jerry. You know, how do you blame or not blame an unprecedented COVID off season? And could that maybe, you know, give Mike Nolan a little bit of a pass, that it was something unpredictable to overcome? With that said, do you expect Mike Nolan to come back?
I look at these teams playing today that's going to play this weekend. Now, they managed to figure out how to do it.
Okay, all right.
We didn't.
Right.
But they managed to figure out how to get to the playoffs. And there will be one of them that manages to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
There are teams that are in the playoffs that have new coaches.
Facts.
All teams had the same time, same limited time in mini camps. We are just out of the gate. We haven't even taken almost the first few steps out of the gate.
Hold on, let me stop it right quick. What does it have to do with the price of tea in China? They're asking you, hey, will Mike Nolan come back? He beating all around the world. That's a simple yes or no. Now, I know it's live radio, so you can't really, at that point in time, be like, nah, he ain't coming back, dog. You know, but it seems like he's setting the table for room of ambiguity, for room of saying, okay, let's just bring him back for another cup of coffee. And to me personally, if this is your house, then it's your house. You make your ruling. I can't get mad at you where you put the coffee table, right? So he should be looking at it like, okay, this is my house. I should look at it like, okay, Mike Nolan, he's my dog. He going to be back. But he's beating all around the bush, man. Or if he's deciding to get rid of him, why circumvent this with all of this story?
And his philosophy and what he can bring to the table. The gates have just jumped open. And so we've got really a great opportunity to take the negatives here. And this sounds foolhardily almost, but we need to take these negatives and we need to burn them in ourselves so that we can very candidly, fresh, figure out ways to not do what we thought we would do. Mike, as well as all of us, thought we had some of the best personnel that we've had since I've been with the Dallas Cowboys this year. Personnel players, some of the very best. Arguably, Mike would tell you some of the best he's ever had. So we've got some work to do, and we will do it.
So that sounds like you haven't made a decision yet on the return of Mike Nolan.
Should
correct?
not sound like anything other than there's not but one way to face this thing, and that is work, intense work. Forget the people's names that are on the positions. It's just going to take a lot of work.
So what's the answer? You know, hey, I can't put the name to it, so let's not just start naming and saying we're going to bring back this guy or not bring back this guy. Don't put a name to it. You know, we're going to look at everybody from A to Z, and it could be Tom Sula, right? It could be Maurice Lindquist, right? You know, it could be one of those guys, and not Mike Nolan. Let's not put a name to it.
And we've got to really, people are going to be just as resolved as we are. That's what makes this game so great. There's a lot of ways to make this thing happen. You know, our stadium is I'm going to segue for you, but our stadium is a great example. You know, I think we set, and I'm going to arm wave, but I think we set the world record for attendance for a venue this year at our stadium.
Hey, you gonna fire Mike Nolan? Hold on. Let's talk about the grapes and the tomatoes that I grew last summer. And by the way, hey, don't you guys know that I set the world's record for attendance? Like, if any of us care about that, like Alan, do you care about that? Paul, you know, chat box, Global Pain. I mean, you know, do you care about setting the record for attendance for the Dallas Cowboys? I don't think there's a soul that's watching me right now care about, hey, we had a lot of people, man. We might not won, but, man, we had about 15,000, man, when it's supposed to be only 150. Oh, I'm sorry, I shorted that number. We had 30,000. Don't nobody care about that. I don't care if it was 2 million people at the stadium. If we can't win, I don't care. You know, look, let me know if you guys care. Now, it do care to a certain person because you can count person's time $1. And think about this. I think that they were not giving discount prices for those ticket seats or what have you. I think that people were still paying the same amount of money. So now you're talking about money. You're not talking about winning. You know, that's all I'm trying. I'm not trying to throw the man under the bus, but that's the last thing that you should bring up in the time frame where we watching. You got a multi-billion-dollar stadium with the biggest TV monitor in life. And people can sit there and watch other teams play now, right? We ain't watching the Cowboys there. We could be watching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and whoever else they playing, right? The Washington team, I guess. We can be sitting back watching the Green Bay Packers, all of those teams. Man, it's crazy.
In the world of pandemic. And we did it extremely, the results were extremely safe. Maybe at the very top with much less attendance. My point is that we have such a great fan base. We have such a great, if you will, football culture in our market.
Football culture.
We're in a country that is so interested and involved in the very game that we play. In all of my time in football, I've never seen it come together that what we do has its rewards.
For you guys to lose.
Ooh, so I'm not going to talk about it. We got 4 more minutes to go.
Kellen to Boise State. What was the sell job, if there was one, that you had to do to him to get him to stay here?
Money.
Well, I think it does speak to, first of all, Kellen to have, at this juncture in his career, to have those kinds of opportunities tells you a lot. But I think what is there is what you don't see relative to job openings or relative to stats. He's outstanding. He's spent his life in coaching. He grew up around the kitchen table, osmosis, but he's gifted. In our particular case, match made right where you want it made. Mike McCarthy, there was nothing that involved us saying, Mike, when you come in, we want you to consider keeping Kellen. Mike came through the door wanting to see and hoping that Kellen would be able to stay with him.
Let me tell y'all something. 101. If it's true, you don't have to explain it. If it's true, you don't have to explain it. Let me say it again. If it's true, you don't have to explain it. By that being falsehood, he had to say, oh, no, it was really Kellen's Moore was the flame that caught Mike McCarthy's eyes. But for you to go out there and just say, okay, nah, you guys got it wrong. You see, Mike McCarthy not only lied about he watched every tape and every film, everything known to man as relates for the Dallas Cowboys, but he also said, hey, I wanted Kellen Moore, right? You know, come on. Let's be real, Cowboy Nation. We don't have to lie to kick it. Look, Kellen Moore will be the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Just watch it.
So he was an admirer of Kellen when he came through the door. They worked like a charm together. He will give us everything that a top offensive coordinator to do. Intense work ethic. Intense work ethic. Very important. Very important.
You talk about Dak. Does he have even more leverage now, Jerry, in these negotiations?
I don't know how you could have any more leverage. But Dak has absolutely been might be a picture postcard, so to speak, but his evolving into an NFL quarterback has been nothing short of a perfect pitcher. And he has great ability, in my mind, to win games. He's talented. He certainly has experience, and so he has all the things as substantiated by what we've offered Zach. You know, you wouldn't.
Hey, watch how they catch him in a bind and say, well, now you saw all of the things that he just bloviated and pumped up and embellished and all of this good stuff. He put everything you can imagine on it, right? And watch what they say. Watch what he say about this. And I'm gonna put my little piggy up here. Let me put Miss Piggy right there. And if I have to extend the time for the show, I will. I see some more people than jumped in, but let me just hit play right quick.
Offering Dak what's been offered him in the past, had you not thought he was very special? And so,
yes.
You know, the issue is how do you come together? And that's no stranger to me. I've been doing it all my life. I got here putting things together, and we've got to get it together.
What's up, Ricardo? Appreciate it.
Jerry, why is the length of the deal such a big issue? If Dak wants to get back to free agency when the money goes up from TV revenue, or you guys don't want the deal to be as long, why is the length such a holdup with this?
The planning, you guys are well aware that we have a certain amount period that can be paid to players every year. It's a very competitive thing, and it has the longer the term, the more flexibility you've got in any number that you have in a contract. The planning ahead, the looking ahead, what you can spend, what you can give on any other free agent. Your overall planning. It's like the amount of time you've got left on your car payments or your house payment or anything else. You've got 3 years left, you've got one thing. If you've got 15 years left, you usually have less payment.
Jerry, how concerned are you that he just says, okay, you guys can tag me for one more year, and then I'll just be an unrestricted free agent? Why would I not do that if I was Dak Prescott?
Again, guys, let's really don't, because we don't have enough time almost this month to discuss this over the radio. But you just get into
that boy moonwalking back better than Michael Jackson, better than what Connor Williams did this weekend. He's moonwalking. Boy, he's moonwalking.
The nuances of we've got to fit potential defense in here. We've got to pay defense.
No.
Who you gonna pay on this defense? Who you gotta pay? Who? Y'all put down in the chat box who they gotta pay. Hey, he put all of the money they just paid Jalen, right? They paid Jalen all of those coins, right? Now, granted, Jalen Smith is the highest tackler on the team. Kudos to Jalen. Was he ever a difference maker? Let's just call a spade a spade. Since Jalen Smith was drafted, was he ever a difference maker? Can you name me a multitude of games that he impacted so much that he won the game? I think that the only game that I can recall was that Tampa Bay Buccaneers game when number 94 strip sacked him and the ball was on the ground and Jalen picked it up and ran to the touchdown. I think that was a great one for Jalen. But outside of that, maybe there was the 49ers game a couple of years ago when he came in through the A gap and just blew up the quarterback, for crying out loud. But those are the only two moments. But he paid Jalen, right? Then in circumvented, he paid D-Law, right? Shout out to D-Law. We love D-Law. You know, he does what he can do out there, but he's at one of these situations where he's an elite rush stopper, right? Not a pass rusher, right? So he can stop the run, but who do he got to pay on the defense? I want to know, Cowboy Nation, like, not Newt. Who we got to pay? Look, let me say this. Let me see. I'm going to read some of your comments because I want to know. Jalen needs a contract restructure, okay? Saints game, Alvin Kamara hit. Well, he put Alvin Kamara out, but shout out to Jordan Lewis on that game. Jordan Lewis was a dog in that game. But I can give you some credit for Jalen on that game if we want to just give him a cookie for that. God Imperial, appreciate you, man. He says Earl Thomas. Yeah. Sean Lee, the coach. Yeah, we'll figure it out. But even Sean Lee, he will have to go through some growing pains, right? Anthony Brown is out. Nah, they got a futures contract on him unless they're going to do something crazy about it. Paying Swiper and the head butters. Lewis fell down, Law. Well, he fell down this year, but the year that we talking about, the year that we beat the Saints, that one game, they put Jordan Lewis as the quote-unquote linebacker spy for Alvin Kamara, and he did a great job that game. And also that game, believe it or not, it was the Byron Jones of the world who shut down Michael Thomas, but that's a story of a different day. That is absolutely a story of a different day. And I know for sure that Randy Get Down Gregory is not going to ask for a king's ransom. And Alden Smith, maybe you can think about paying that brother, but you better pay the person who built the way.
We've got to pay additional defense this year, and any dollar that goes there doesn't go toward another player.
On Sunday night, this was a big issue. The Eagles pulling Jalen Hurts in the middle of the game. I know Ben Roethlisberger didn't start, so the Browns got basically an easier road, if you want to call it that. Does the league have an issue, an integrity issue in these final weeks where something like that with the Eagles happens and they take issue with it and they potentially.
What do you think about it?
Hey, this is the greatest classification that Jerry Jones is 1,000% team tank guy. When you listen to his explanation, he gives a great analogy or reference to why it's good for a team trying to lose or what have you. Just listen to it, and I'm not going to stop it. I'm going to just try to play it all the way through.
I'm not playing Mahomes at Kansas City.
Right. That's it.
I've been in on discussions of this. I served almost 10 years on the competition committee, and I've been in probably about 99% of the ownership meetings over the last 30 years. And I've had a lot of discussions and seen a lot of discussions on this matter. What if you're sitting there been getting killed by New England all these years, and you have a chance to keep them from going to the playoffs, and you're a direct competitor in almost the same market? You want to help New England win another one? So my point is, what are all of these nuances? Now, just let me say this: we must and should have games that have reasons to compete and win, and that's when we construct plays, go 1 for 2, extra point, kickoffs, all of that. We are keenly aware that the game must be competitive and at all times not only have an exciting play, but have a game that actually has consequences. And you try to get all of those nuances in there. When have we seen that player stop right before the goal line and sit down rather than scoring at the end of the game, not to give the ball back? We buy into that. We buy into the running back stopping before the goal line and squatting so that we can not give the team the other ball because they might come back and beat you with a touchdown. We buy that strategy. So what you're getting into is the strategies of working for your position to do what? Get to the playoff. And in this particular case, I assume they wanted to see a few snaps from that tall quarterback they had, and or apparently has had some background in it. But I really don't know the nuances there. Now, I'm sounding like I'm supportive.
I paused it. What do that sound like to you all? That he is pretty much agreeing, and I know that he's trying to, put the lipstick back on the pig when he said, hey, I'm sounding like I'm supporting, but I'm just trying to speak facts. I guess that's what he's going to say at the end. My thing is, Cowboy Nation, if he's on the competition committee, he should be firecracker hot, red hot, just so hot about the whole situation about, hey, this team supposedly is doing it blatantly. You don't post, like, it's one thing to tank. Like, it would have been another story if Sudfield was out there quarter 1, quarter 2. But you guys do know that the loss falls on the quarterback, whoever was starting, right? It's crazy. And I can only imagine how Giants fans feel right about now, right? They probably looking at it like, well, they should have took care of business when they played the team, right? And they wouldn't have to worry about this. But collectively speaking, as a collective, we can look back at this thing and say, man, Jerry should not even spoke on this topic. He should have said, man, hey, that's something to do with Eagles. I'm just trying to worry about trying to get my team right for the off season so we can get to the playoff next year, so we can be in that situation.
I'm really not. I'm just saying there are times in pro football that the strategies of what happened does not reconcile with the competitiveness of the play. We as a league, for the last 30 years that I've been involved, have tried to make those reconcile every place we can, and not divert from a non-competitive situation that is, in fact, a competitive situation on another side of the team management.
We agree with you. Jerry, last one. We ask it every year after a tough season like this. It's actually a listener reaction to what you were talking about earlier with the attendance numbers and all that stuff. What do you say to the Cowboy fans who say Jerry Jones cares more about the attendance, more about the brand, more about the ratings over the actual wins and the championships here with the Cowboys?
Well, first of all, I care tremendous about the viewership, and I care tremendous about the attendance at the stadium.
You start talking about this money,
I care tremendous about the attendance at training camp and the crowds that watch us practice, fans, and the promotion of the team is the promotion of the franchise. And that creates interest. And then consequently, that begets enthusiasm by networks. It causes eyeballs to be on you with television. And so I'm unabashed. I work every way known to man to have the Cowboys to stay relevant and interesting. Where the misnomer is that I care any more or less about that than I do making a first down. That's where it goes awry, and that's just not right. Every chance that I'm given an opportunity to trade dollars, or if you will, to trade a issue of visibility or an issue of promotion, every chance that I give a chance, I go for the first down. Every chance. I'll go all the way back to when I bought the team. That was the most money that had ever come out of anybody's pocket to get into sport. And I somehow, God willing, I got in a spot to do it, and I gave every damn bit of it up.
We don't care. We don't care. Look, we don't care how much money you gave up to buy this team. We were fans of this team before you came aboard. Granted, you got a chance to win 3 Super Bowls. Granted, you had a phenomenal coach, a phenomenal leader, a phenomenal person named Jimmy Johnson. Y'all, I guess, 2 alpha males that couldn't get along, right? And I'm not going to go back and forth whether or not he fired Jimmy or Jimmy walked away from the job regardless. They need to reconcile that type of situation. And you refuse to put the brother in the ring of honor. Let that sink in. You got players that he coached in the ring, but you don't have Jimmy Johnson in the ring of honor, right? You made it to the Hall of Fame before Jimmy Johnson. Man, this stuff is too good for me to close it out for tonight. Man, I wish I would have played the full interview because I'm listening to most of it now. I guess he would never understand it, right? He don't get it. You made the Hall of Fame before Jimmy Johnson. You guys are 2 peas in a pot, basically. Think about this. Let this sink in. They said it would never work. It would not happen hiring a college coach, right? A first-timer coach in the pros. And let me just erase this thing right quick. Give me a few seconds, Cowboy Nation. Bam, it's gone. If egos were not in the way, I promise you guys that in 1994, we would have won. We would have beat the San Francisco 49ers. In 95, of course, we would have won there. And then in 96, it wouldn't have been nobody else. It would have been us again. The philosophy and the scheme and everything was working. Matter of fact, point example, Jimmy Johnson took a couple of years off, right? And then the Dolphins called him. Dolphins called him back up. He had his mojo pretty much gone at that point. But don't you guys know that when Jimmy Johnson, even when he went back to the coaching in the NFL, taking a couple of years off or however long he took off, He never had a losing season. Matter of fact, I believe that we are tied. Tied, as in tied, as in both even at the amount of playoff wins since that time frame. Jimmy Johnson in those 4 years still had 2 playoff wins. Don't you know that we still just have 2 playoff wins since Jimmy Johnson left? Well, since the Super Bowl of Brady Switzer. I think that's how many Super Bowls, that's how many playoff games we won, right? Is it 2 or 3? Could be 3. I could be wrong. It could be 3. How many, not playoffs. Yeah. How many playoff games have we won since 1995 and 96 season, what have you? Is it 2 or is it 3? Albert Smith, man, aficionado, man, he says Facts Law is 2. We have the exact same playoff. If Jimmy Johnson went to a whole nother team. That's the craziest thing. Oh, it's 3. So we got one more playoff. I think it's 3, yeah. Can you post the teams that we won? I know the Eagles are one of them, right? And I do know that the Seattle Sea Chickens are another. What's the other team? What's the other team that we beat? I know the Eagles are one, and I know the Seattle Seahawks are the other. Yeah. The Lions. Okay, yeah, 2014. So the Lions, we beat the Lions, the Eagles, and the Seattle Seahawks within the last 26 years. That's not. Let me see if he got any more things to say.
About the Cowboys. Because I'd rather have had that than the money.
Oh, he crying. Oh, my goodness. Oh, he crying. No, you don't have to lie to kick it, man. Look, you're 79, close to 80, 82, 81, however old you are. Chill, man. I posted on my Twitter, I'm getting too old for this, on my Twitter. That's what Jerry Jones should say. At this point, I don't think that nobody's going to be shedding tears. I don't think Brandon, Rue Glock, my dog, Joe Taylor, I said Joe, I'm thinking of Joe, I guess. Joe Taylor, Flows Infinite. I don't think that we will be crying for Jerry Jones right now unless something else happened. But we don't have no sympathy for that. Oh, my goodness, man. The brother's crying over here, man. Let me see if I can play it back just a little bit. And I'm not laughing at his misery. I mean, Johnny Walker Blue will be good right about now. Let me see.
And I gave every damn bit of it up to buy the Cowboys. Because I'd rather have had that than the money.
All right. I ain't going to laugh at the man. Yeah. Jerry, step down, please.
Jerry Jones, another season with us right here on the home of America's team. You gave us a...
They cut to commercial break, I tell you. Dog, if you say you'd rather have that than to have the money, cut Law Nation a check right play. All he got to do, man, all he got to do is just look at this thing and say, you know what? I can't do it. And I know that that's a hard thing to say. That's the toughest pill to swallow when you got all of that pride. It's just like going up to Jimmy Johnson, shaking the man's hand, saying congratulations on becoming a Hall of Fame, part of the fraternity. Here's your yellow or gold jacket or what have you. And it's so hard. It's so hard, right? I got to put it like that. For him to say, hey, man, your name belongs in that ring of honor. Your name belongs to all of the fans that support you over the years to go back to the stadium, to look up and say, hey, that's my coach right there, Jimmy Johnson. See, I didn't get a chance to have the glory of the glory years of being there for all of the years of Tom Landry. But I'm quite sure for those who really have those sentiments and the love and adulations towards Tom Landry, it's a wonderful thing to go up there and look and say, man, look at that hat right there. That's my coach. Man, that's my guy. man, that's the guy that started me out on learning football, and I love football. And when I go and I can show my kids, man, you see that hat right there? That means everything for this organization and franchise. You see, people that's born in the 80s, in the 90s, we can't go up to the stadium and say, hey, you see Jimmy Johnson? You know, man, that guy changed our lives, man, because of the way his philosophy and the way he taught and then the way he was able to motivate and elevate these players, right? Karma is up. You know what? Y'all can fill it in the comment box. Yeah, the chat is jumping. This boy, we got no sleep nation around here, man. Let me get the pig out the way. But Jerry, we really don't care about your tears, man. I wish that I could show some sympathy and empathy for it, but dog it, you can get on a helipad, fly all around the world. You can get on a yacht, for crying out loud. And sail all across the world from here to Alaska where it's cold, colder than polar bear nuts. We can see you doing those things, right? But we don't have that longitude and latitude because when we lose, there's a guy named Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, Shay Sharp, everybody co-worker, mama, uncle, cousin, Tupac, and Biggie, they all pointing fingers at us. They laughing at us, saying, how dare you? We're like we walk around with the star, and it's a laughing symbol, right? We walk around with the helmet, with the star, with any Dallas Cowboys apparel. It's a laughing signal. It's a laughing symbol. I can't talk tonight. It's a laughing symbol now. Look, whenever we lose, we get out, we pull out our phones, and there's thousands of messages saying, how about them Cowboys? It's embarrassing the things that we do. Look, we say about players, we don't want to bring this player to the thing because it's about chemistry. Or we don't want to pay this guy. We paid everybody around. We paid everybody around him but the quarterback. And now you got to pay the quarterback twice or three times more than what he's originally, the value was, right? Or is, or what have you. And I know I'm going to hit a lot of people in the head and say, nah, Law, you got to pay him the $40 million. But I was beating the table when he was $22 million, $25 million. I was saying pay him then. Now it's $40 million. And we at the mercy seat of it. We supposed to be like, okay, Jerry, we don't want to see you crying. Dog, we was crying then. It's just stupid, ain't it right? Cameron, right? Oh my goodness. How come he don't love us, Law? In Will's voice. In Will Smith's voice. He don't, man. He don't. If he did, he would listen. We would have been all the way around this right about now. Shout out to you, Uncle Charles. Faded star at Law. Yeah, shout out to you, Albert Smith. Yeah, faded star. You know, it's 26 years now, Fernando. It was 25 years this year. I just really wanted to get beyond 25. 25 was like a long enough number for us to look at it and say, all right, it ain't going to be 26 years. I just don't want it to be 27. So in closing, as my Uncle Charles would say over there, we got to fix this stuff, man. We got to figure this thing out. Now, I'm not saying that got to throw the baby out with the bathwater with Mike McCarthy. But my thing is with Mike McCarthy, throughout this whole entire year, we can't really just sit back and say, what new did he bring to the table? What difference did he bring to the table? Outside of shutting off everything during training camp where we had to go squint our eyes, jump to some insider, from Twitter to pull clips and footages. And then we thought week 1, week 2, we're going to see something new splashes. The only thing that Mike McCarthy brought to the table that's different from Jason Garrett was bigger sets of cojones, right? And it was at the wrong time most of the time, right? It's like going for it on our side of the field, right? Like 4th and whatever, and we on our side of the 20, let's go for it. Or let's bring in more fake punts and more fake field goals and stuff like that. That's all we can say. Going forward on 4th and 2. Oh, on 4th and inches, let's punt it. You know, that type of stuff. The inverse of what Jason Garrett would have done, right? That's the only thing. Can somebody else bring out something that he brought to the table? I'm waiting. Look, y'all, if y'all can find me 5 good points what he brought to the table different from the previous regime, then I'll hush. Just bring me 5 solids. None of that fake stuff. Now, we can look at that Eagles game and say, yes, that was a game where we attacked the cornerbacks. We went and approached to that situation. But it could be it's just a situation that kid just didn't know how to play football, right? It's not like that kid, Jaquette, whatever his name is, was a shutdown corner. I know people scrambling for 5 things. I can see them now like, man, let me see these 5 things, man. Let me look around. Young Wilson, appreciate you for making the donation to help.
This is Sparta!
Appreciate you so much for making the donation. I'm going to see if the AI going to speak and pull that up.
La Happy New Year. When is Nolan getting fired? I thought it would happen already. Waiting hurts us with the draft. We need a DC now to know who we draft. Salute.
You ain't lying.
Crying of pain or guilt. Karma firing 2 Hof coaches. Worried more about the branding and nostalgia he had nothing to do with building before.
9 dime for your mind. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate y'all, too, for making the donation to help elevate the nation. That proves, man, that any night, man, the nation, we don't sleep. We looking for answers. We flat out looking for answers. That is exactly what we are doing. We're looking for answers. So what I'm going to do here is, in closing, I really appreciate you all. The video is an hour. It's an hour and some change long. And I didn't do any commentary over it. I wanted to be as fair and as balanced as possible. And this is every tackle of Jalen Smith. And I'm just going to let that video play. Oh, it's going to premiere. Let me just premiere it. And I'm going to send you guys the link. And this is me, you know, it took forever for me to make the video, what have you. But I really appreciate those who, you guys might hear my voice in a few seconds. Let me see if I can get there before it goes there. Give me a few more seconds here. Here we go. Bam. There we go. But the reality of it is that we got to figure this thing out. We do. We flat out do. Cowboy Nation. I really appreciate everybody for tuning in. The titling of it is Jalen Smith, Every Tackle of the 2020 Season. And we're gonna watch that thing and we're gonna parlay up out of here. But I really appreciate each and every last one of you all. Thank everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like button, share this content. Let a friend, neighbor, foe know where to go when they want to tune in to Cowboys Sports Talk and beyond. Give me a few seconds. I'm gonna have the link ready for you all. Here we go. And we can party and have a party over there. And it's one of those things, Cowboy Nation, where we're going to have to figure this thing out. Jerry, wipe them tears up, man. You're a grown man, finna be 80, 81, 82, how old he is. Put his age down below. Wipe them tears up, man. Nobody's going to be crying over the money that you spent to buy the team that now you done racked up over 60 million more than what you bought the team for. Is billion. You're a billionaire. I shortchange you. Your net worth is $8.5 billion. And truth be told, you borrowed $140 million to buy the team. I wish we had that type of credit, right? More, we'll change it to the state team. Let the state own the team, right? And he's 78 years old. Shout out to you, Douglas. Don't want to give the man too many years. So he's 78 years old. We ain't feeling sorry for you, fam. We love you, though. We love you. But we ain't finna be wiping your tears up, man. Man that up, man. We don't need an owner out here crying. because you didn't spend millions to make billions. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Let's go.
Outstanding.